What's up?
Oh, I'm just compiling all the top sports scores, news, and odds so I can make the very best bets.
Me too. BetOnline.ag.
Join today and receive your 50% welcome bonus at betonline.ag.
It's been a while since we really got to look at the quarterback position in the NFL draft here in New England. But that time has come once again. I'm Alex Barth. He's Evan Lazar. This is the FOXBORO Report, powered by betonline.ag. Visit clnsmedia.com/win today and use the promo code CLNS50 to get 50% off of your first purchase. Evan, Tom Brady's not getting any younger.
He's not.
He's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Button.
Before you tear me apart, but he's not going. It's time to start looking at the replacement, right?
Always.
The rookie 4-year contract that a draft pick would receive, that takes you right up to Tom Brady's 45. Yeah. So now, we said it with Jimmy G, and I think we kind of meant it. Now we mean it. It's getting real. The Patriots have to take a quarterback.
There's an old philosophy, scouting philosophy. Ron Wolf, the Green Bay Packers, kind of coined this thought process theory that you take a quarterback every single year, even if you have a starter. Now, Belichick hasn't exactly adhered to that, but they've taken like 9 or 10 quarterbacks over the last 20 years.
And some high-profile guys, Ryan Mallett,
Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett was a 3rd-round pick. So they're going to take a quarterback, I think. It's really not even necessarily because Tom Brady's old. It's also just because that's what you do in this league.
All right, so, that being said, before we get into specific names, the debate seems to be early or late. Are you going and drafting Tom Brady's replacement, putting a lot of resources in a 1st, 2nd-round pick, maybe even moving up? Or are you, going the Denver Broncos route, drafting somebody in the 7th round, high floor, low ceiling, hope they can give you enough?
Yeah. Well, I think that the interesting thing about this is, what did the Patriots actually think of Danny Etling? We know what we think of Danny Etling, which isn't very good.
If you need a reminder, CLNS Media on YouTube, just search Etling, you'll find it.
But the thing is that if you're going to go late, then didn't you just do that with Danny Etling?
Exactly.
So why are we redoing that? I think that really the Patriots board for quarterbacks is about 6 or 7 guys, but the 4 guys I think that are realistic options for them: Daniel Jones out of Duke, Will Grier, West Virginia, Brett Ripon, Boise State, and Ryan Finley out of NC State.
So did you just put those guys in order of most? Give me those guys in order of like who you'd like to see the most to the least.
I think that the number 1 guy, and I'm a Brett Ripon guy, you know that, right?
Yes.
I like Brett Ripon. He's a very mechanically sound quarterback. He's good between the ears, but he's undersized and he falls below their thresholds for the quarterback position, which he's about the same size as Baker Mayfield. So I don't want to make this out to be like he's like, Kyler Murray's size, but he's certainly not, as big as they would like. Now, Will Grier is the type of guy that on the field, he throws a nice ball. He's very good before the snap. They put a lot on his shoulders pre-snap, and he's able to do a lot of different things at West Virginia. And when I was at the Combine, I sat and I talked to Will Grier for about 10-15 minutes, and there's just something about the guy, right? He's got that star quarterback moxie to him.
So just a little bit,
he's got like some persona.
For people who don't know, a little bit of background on Will Grier, because I think that's a huge point with him, and I think the reason the Patriots would like him.
He's got bravado, man.
Not only does he have bravado, his brothers Nash, and I forget the other one's name, but they're like millionaires off of Vine. They were the first Vine celebrities.
Really?
He could have, his brothers are like, internet superstars.
Oh, wow.
And he could have joined them. He chose to play football, right? He chose this career. He didn't have to do this. Money-wise, he's set. So he's doing this because he loves the game of football. I think that means a lot to the New England Patriots. I really do.
Yeah,
it means a lot to me, at least.
And I talked to him about like what it was in those clutch moments, like against Texas and like some of the other big moments that he's had in his college career, that he kind of rises to those occasions. And he says that it's actually not that I rise to them, it's that I'm the same guy in those moments. And when he said that, I was like, okay, that's very Patriot. That's what all the coaches and all GMs say about what's clutch. Clutch is when you perform the same in the last 2 minutes as the first
people use that line a lot to describe Tom Brady. It's not that he elevates his game late in games, it's that he's perfectly steady from the beginning to the end.
So Will Grier has that element of his game to him, certainly. In talking to some of his teammates at the Combine too, like Yadni Kajust, who was his left tackle, or David Sills, who's his top wide receiver, they said the same thing. They actually told me a story a few years ago how they were down, I think it was 17 at the half, and Will Grier came over to the bench at halftime right before they were about to go out for the second half, and he said, guys, I got this. We're going to win the game.
That sounds like Tom Brady again.
And they came back and won the game. So that he has that kind of, moxie to him. Now, the league really loves Ryan Finley out of NC State.
Yeah.
His accuracy is very good down the field. That's a big reason why. He's a big, tall quarterback with good accuracy down the field, and he knew how to get the ball to his playmakers. Kelvin Harmon's one of the best receivers in this class. Jacoby Myers, some other guys in that NC State offense that were very good players. He kind of was able to shuffle the ball around almost like a point guard to his playmakers and let them make plays. That's an element that I think the league likes about him too. And obviously, whenever you get guys that are rising late in the process like this, you often wonder what they're like in the interview room.
Right.
It's probably a good thing, good sign for Ryan Finley that on the chalkboard and in the interview room, he's probably passing all of those tests as well. So don't sleep on him in the second or third round either.
All right, before we wrap it up here, is there one name that the Patriots should avoid, or that you're hoping not to see, Patriots fans should hope not to hear called on draft night from the quarterback position?
Daniel Jones out of Duke. So Daniel Jones is one of the most fascinating kind of combine risers to now really a riser to where he might get drafted in the top 10. So I think he's going to be the third quarterback off the board. He reminds me
behind Murray and
Drew Lock, actually. Yeah. A lot of people.
So you don't have Dwayne Haskins.
I think Dwayne Haskins is the second best quarterback in the draft.
So it's I have
Just
heard,
make that clear.
And I do too. I like Drew Lock too a lot.
Somebody at the end of the top 10 wants Dwayne Haskins.
I would be shocked if somebody took Haskins over Ohio State. I just said it.
Dwayne Haskins.
Or sorry, if somebody took Jones over Haskins, because
Yeah.
to me Haskins is everything Jones is, but he's better at literally everything.
Well, so this is my theory and a lot of people's theories with this. At this time of year, it's all about rumors and putting stuff out there that's fake. That's what Bill Belichick just said it to us.
Right.
A lot of
absolutely.
fake stories, fake news out there right now to try to drum up interest in certain guys. Somebody at the fringe of the top 10, maybe it's the Giants, maybe it's the Denver Broncos, wants Dwayne Haskins. And they're trying to plummet his stock right now by leaking to the media that Dwayne Haskins has not been good in the interview rooms. This happened with Kyler Murray, too, right around the Combine, with Charlie Casserly came out and said that he tanked some of his interviews at the Combine. Somebody, I think it's probably the Denver Broncos, is in love with Dwayne Haskins, and they're trying to get him to fall to them.
If anybody is going to take Daniel Jones high, I actually think it's the Broncos at 12, 13. I know they're back-to-back with the Bengals, and I think those are going to be back-to-back quarterback picks right there. Daniel Jones is everything John Elway wants in a quarterback. He's tall.
But he doesn't have the big arm.
No. But
he doesn't have a cannon.
But he's tall.
He really doesn't have a great
That's the
arm.
end of the sentence. He's everything John Elway wants. He's tall. Osweiler didn't end up having the arm everybody thought he did.
I think that the best ceiling comp that I've heard for Daniel Jones is Alex Smith. He is Alex Smith. He's more athletic for the position than you would expect, right? For a guy of his stature. He's also got an okay arm, but nothing special, and he's got some good intermediate to short accuracy, and he throws the ball on time and he gets the ball out, and he's really at his best and like a quick passing game type offense. Kind of West Coast offense is a perfect fit for Daniel Jones. I think the team that, and not necessarily the West Coast team, but I think the team that really would do well with Daniel Jones is the Washington Redskins, because they already have Alex Smith. It's a very similar kind of marriage there. I think that the Gruden's, that kind of quarterback system would work well for Daniel Jones. I think the hype for Daniel Jones is crazy. I think he's probably the third or fourth best quarterback in this draft, maybe even lower than that. I have him, I think, as the sixth best quarterback in the draft.
Right.
And a lot of people, I think, are just like, that's crazy. He, to me, is a day 2 pick. He's a guy that the Patriots might want to look at like 64, like what they did with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
If
they haven't taken a quarterback yet.
Right, but my God, if he goes top 10 like people are saying, and that, because it's one thing if you risk the top 10 pick on a guy like Josh Allen who can throw the ball 100 yards. Right. At least you know that you have an elite trait that you're risking on. But if you take a guy like Daniel Jones who really functionally doesn't have a ton of arm strength, you're really talking about a reach, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Denver Broncos, lock it in, Daniel Jones. Are there any quarterbacks we missed you would have liked to hear us talk about?
Tyree Jackson.
Do you want to give me, because this has been
Clayton
one of the longest
Thorson.
ones.
So Tyree Jackson,
Give me
Clayton
30
Thorson,
seconds on those two guys, like total.
Easton Stick. I think that kind of rounds out the Patriots quarterback
That's
board.
if they choose to go day 3.
Right.
Okay.
So Tyree Jackson, absolute cannon, huge guy, 6'7", great athlete. All those things are great about him. Between the ears and just functionally what he does with the accuracy is horrible.
Yeah.
His mechanics are a complete work in progress. You're talking about starting from day 1 with him, with his throwing mechanics, especially his footwork and his lower body mechanics. Thorson, I wish for Thorson's sake that he didn't tear his ACL in 2017 because he was a different quarterback before the ACL. Maybe that comes back, some of his mobility. He really became a statue in the pocket last year because he couldn't really move on that knee. So maybe that comes back down the road. He's not very accurate either. His ball security is certainly a concern as well, but he throws a nice catchable ball, and he seems to be able to kind of get the general understanding of safety rotations and coverages from defenses, and he likes to attack one-on-ones, which is what we like to see, right? You got to be aggressive with throwing windows and attack one-on-ones. Easton Stick's the type of guy that is kind of like a Julian Edelman. I think he's a better quarterback than Julian Edelman was in college. Certainly deserves a chance to be a quarterback in the pros, but he's kind of one of those guys I look at that I'm like, he's just a football player, right? You put him on your team, he runs a 6'6", 5'3" cone and a really good 40-yard dash for a quarterback. Let's see, maybe he's a receiver. Maybe he's like a gadget quarterback like a Taysom Hill. I don't know, but I think that you give him a chance at quarterback.
All right, let us say, on top of all that, if there's any other quarterback thoughts you have, let us know.
Gardner Minshew,
in the
no.
comments down below.
Jared Stidham, no.
Oh, no to Jared Stidham, and Trace McSorley, no.
Right, all those guys, no.
Those guys are no's for me, too. All right, that's going to do it. This edition of the Foxborough Report has been brought to you by BetOnline AG. For Evan Lazar, I'm Alex Barth. Thanks for watching.